we start off with today's big story. Facebook under attack again. The social media giant saying 50 million users were affected by a security flaw. Let's get to Josh Lipton in San Francisco, who's got the details on this developing story. Josh.
Mel, here's what we know. Facebook saying that on Tuesday, its engineers uncovered a security issue impacting almost 50 million accounts. CEO Mark Zuckerberg explaining that issue on a call. Take a listen.
I'm glad that we found this and that we were able to fix the vulnerability and secure the accounts. But it definitely is an issue that this happened in the first place. And I think that this underscores the attacks that our community and our service face, and the need to keep on investing heavily in security.
Facebook says that the investigation is still in its early stages, but that they've fixed the vulnerability and informed law enforcement, including the FBI, saying they've yet to determine whether these accounts were misused or any information was accessed. So how did this attack actually work? Facebook saying attackers took advantage of a vulnerability in its code that impacted the View As feature that allowed them to steal the equivalent of digital keys, which they could then use to take over people's accounts. The street starting to weigh in now. Evercore's Anthony DiClemente calling this bad news at a bad time with midterm elections just around the corner, though he says revenue trends are not likely impacted in his view. And he says, unlike the Cambridge Analytica data scandal, the company acknowledged the issue right away and is taking action. By the way, another tech giant in the hot seat too today. Google CEO Sundar Pichai on Capitol Hill meeting with lawmakers. That's after he and Larry Page, remember, declined that invitation to appear before a public hearing earlier this month. CNBC reporting that Pichai has agreed to testify before Congress before the end of the year. Mel, back to you.
All right. Thanks, Josh. Josh Lipton in San Francisco. Well, the breach is the latest in a series of missteps for the social giant, all of it leaving Facebook all by itself.
Oh, please.
2018 has been a long year for Mark Zuckerberg, with the social media giant battling one privacy issue after another, and the stock reflecting those problems, down 7% this year, while the rest of the FANG trade takes off and tech surges. So has Facebook become a no-touch stock guy?
See that face I'm making? I just wanted to make it clear. It's a pain like you
face.
Smelled something bad face. And that's
what I mean. That's how Mark Zuckerberg feels.
Is it because of the song, or is it because of the stock?
It's a combination of the two. Clearly, the stock is forcing us to play Celine Dion's All By Myself, which she ripped off from Eric Carmen, as we've pointed out a number of times. All of which making me a little bit ill.
I believe.
Continue, please, Guy. Yeah. What's your point?
75, Eric.
Well, I mean, I think as Tim has said this, there's clearly existential risks. You have to be comfortable with this valuation in an environment where maybe valuation doesn't matter. I thought it's going to trade back to the levels we saw in March when Mr. Zuckerberg testified, which is 155. I don't think you've seen the capitulation volume like you saw in March yet, which indicates to me I think that's back where we're headed. Also, quite frankly, I don't think you have to do anything in earnings, and earnings is on Halloween Day, so I think it's a no-touch for a month.
It's a perception problem. You had 85 million Cambridge Analytica. You have 50 million now. Perception problem. But Carter's on the desk. We could talk about technicals. The 100-week moving average is 162.52. Stopped on a dime probably 6 times. That's the spot.
That's not going to save him, Steve. I mean,
I agree with that.
The bottom line here is, and I wrote about this on .com a couple days ago. There's winners and losers in the data privacy world. And by the way, Marky Mark just told us that Facebook is a service. It's a community. It's not. They're data brokers. That's their asset, and they can't protect it. And they told you on the second quarter earnings call that they don't even know what the cost is going to be to protect it. This is another security problem. And again, this is their core asset. It's in the world where, think about data today as we thought about oil 10 years ago. It's the new oil. It's the asset that everybody is trying to figure out what we have. And I think you're going to continue to hear these headlines. And to me, Facebook has not solved any problems, and they're losing
It's
trust.
a bad thing at a bad time. I mean, the problem is you can break sentiment, right? And then that's very hard to repair that. And to have this happen on top of all the things that have happened, it just is not the thing that makes people want to go out and buy the stock.
Is there a contrarian trade possibly wrapped up within this Facebook problem? They have, of all the social media stocks, they have perhaps the deepest pockets, the strongest revenue streams with which to combat any regulations out there, as opposed to, let's say, a Twitter or some of the other smaller players out there.
In the long term, I think over the long term, they do have those. They can pull a lot of levers. We've said that for a number of years now on this desk. However, as we head into earnings, and Mr. Zuckerberg just said it himself, reason to spend more on security. Are you going to see it double down on security on October 31st? To me, that's a real concern. Nobody saw it last quarter coming, but if it happens again, then it's shame on us. So I would say, to answer your original question, no touch.
But you can't, you get the bulk, your bang for your buck with Facebook. The advertisers sort of are forced into doing it. Yes, they have other spaces they can do it.
So should there then be an investable story if the advertisers have nowhere else to go?
Well, we just heard Josh just gave the report saying that the analyst said that it shouldn't affect the revenue stream. So maybe if it doesn't affect the revenue stream, but you're going to need this to play out a quarter or two, and I don't know if you're going to get that solace in that revenue stream. But I would say that you have to be investing if you're an advertiser in Facebook.
Again, I'm looking at this totally differently. I'm thinking about this and what's the multiple I want to pay for a stock where the company doesn't even know how to handle it. I don't have a personal agenda against Facebook. In fact, I would be urging all investors to think about how they're investing in every company they invest in tech land that has this as their core asset as well. Remember, it's not a community of sharing. It's a company that sells data. And sells data to advertisers. And that's what's going on here. So, yeah, maybe in the short run, that's fine. And I'm not saying they're going out of business and they've got a big cash flow, but that's not what this is about. This is about what do you want to pay for a company, what multiple, and there's a reason why Facebook is cheap.
So you're in no touch right now.
Absolutely.